Imagine a tiny 6-year-old girl, golden curls framing her innocent blue eyes, standing alone in a sea of glittering gowns and suits. Her dress? Faded hand-me-downs from a thrift store, patched at the seams. Whispers ripple through the crowd. Look at her, so out of place. Her cheeks burn with shame. But what happens when a millionaire CEO, known for his iron fist in business, spots her and makes a request that shocks everyone? Stick around. This isn't just a dance. It's a moment that uncovers hidden pain, sparks unbreakable kindness, and proves humanity's deepest care can heal the soul. You won't believe the twist that ties their hearts forever. Before we dive into the story, please tell me, where are you watching me from and what's the time there? Emma stepped tentatively into the grand ballroom, her tiny hand gripping her mother's worn handbag so tightly that her knuckles turned white, the faded leather a stark reminder of their daily struggles, as the opulent chandeliers above cast shimmering lights that danced like distant stars she could never reach. The charity event, meant to uplift underprivileged children like her, felt more like a cruel spotlight exposing her vulnerabilities, with her school choir invited to perform before a crowd of elegantly dressed elites whose diamonds sparkled with effortless wealth. Her heart fluttered with a mix of excitement and dread, the air thick with the scent of expensive perfumes that made her feel even smaller in her faded pink frock, handed down from a neighbor's child and patched clumsily at the hem to hide the tears from years of wear. As they navigated through the sea of tuxedos and gowns, Emma caught glimpses of judgmental eyes flicking toward her, their whispers slicing through the ambient chatter like invisible blades, making her cheeks flush with a burning shame she couldn't name. "Mommy?" she murmured softly, her voice barely audible over the murmur of the crowd, her golden curls framing a face etched with innocence yet shadowed by worry. "Why are they looking at me like that? Do I look funny?" Her mother's hand, calloused from endless hours scrubbing floors and waiting tables at 2 grueling jobs, squeezed hers reassuringly, though Emma could feel the slight tremor in that grip, a silent echo of her own fears. "They're just curious, sweetie," her mother replied with forced brightness, her eyes weary but filled with unwavering love, knowing deep down that curiosity often masked disdain in places like this. The ballroom's marble floors echoed their footsteps, each one amplifying Emma's growing unease, as if the very ground judged her for not belonging in this world of luxury. She glanced up at the high ceilings adorned with intricate gold leaf, feeling like a speck of dust in a palace, her blue eyes wide with a confusion that tugged at the heartstrings of anyone who truly looked. Nearby, a group of women in silk dresses clustered together, their laughter tinkling like crystal glasses, but one turned her head, her pearl necklace catching the light as she leaned in to whisper to her companion, "Look at that little girl. Her dress is positively ancient, like something from a bygone era. She doesn't belong here among us." The words landed like a punch to Emma's gut, her small chest tightening as tears threatened to spill, the echo of those cruel syllables reverberating in her mind like thunder rolling over a stormy sea, drowning out the orchestral music playing softly in the background. She pulled at the frayed sleeve of her dress, wishing she could disappear into its folds, her pure-hearted spirit crumbling under the weight of unspoken rejection. Yet, amidst the sea of indifference, her mother knelt down briefly, brushing a curl from Emma's forehead with a tenderness that spoke volumes of sacrificial love, whispering, "Remember, Emma, your voice is your magic. Just sing from here," tapping her daughter's chest where a brave little heart beat fiercely despite the odds. As the choir assembled on the makeshift stage, Emma lined up with her classmates, their uniforms crisp and new in contrast to her own, heightening her sense of isolation, like a wilted flower in a bouquet of blooms. The director signaled for quiet, and the lights began to dim, casting long shadows that seemed to swallow her whole, her palms growing sweaty as anticipation built. In the front row, amid the rows of polished shoes and tailored suits, sat a man who stood out not just for his handsome features, stylish black hair swept back impeccably, piercing blue eyes hat held a depth of untold stories, but for the way his gaze lingered on her, not with pity or scorn, but with a flicker of recognition that puzzled her young mind. Ryan, the 32-year-old millionaire CEO whose name commanded boardrooms and headlines, adjusted his cufflinks absent-mindedly, his outward toughness, a armor forged from years of cutthroat deals and solitary climbs to success, beginning to crack ever so slightly as he watched this child navigate a world that mirrored his own forgotten past. Why was he staring so intently, his blue eyes narrowing with an emotion he hadn't felt in years, a softness stirring within that tough exterior, like a long-dormant seed awakening to sunlight? What hidden pain from his childhood, buried under layers of achievement and isolation, was resurfacing in this unexpected moment, drawing him inexplicably toward this innocent girl whose quiet suffering echoed his own? The room hushed further, the spotlight warming the stage, and Emma took a deep breath, her small frame straightening with resolve, though doubt gnawed at her edges like a persistent shadow. The audience settled into their seats, a tapestry of privilege and detachment, unaware that this evening would unravel threads of humanity they never knew existed. Emma's mother stood at the side, her heart aching with pride and protectiveness, praying silently that her daughter's light would shine through the cracks of judgment. As the first notes of the song hovered in the air, ready to begin, Emma met Ryan's gaze once more, a silent question passing between them. What connection was fate weaving in this glittering hall of contrasts? The weight of the moment pressed down, her emotions swirling like a storm, fear of failure, longing for acceptance, and a spark of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, someone here saw beyond the old dress to the radiant soul beneath. Ryan shifted in his seat, his mind flashing to memories of his own youth, scraping by in run-down apartments, wearing clothes that never fit, facing sneers that hardened his resolve but left scars on his heart. The choir's harmony was about to commence, but in that suspended breath, Emma felt a strange comfort in those blue eyes, as if they held a promise of kindness yet to unfold. Her fingers fidgeted with the hem of her dress again, not out of shame now, but nerves laced with determination, her innocent face glowing faintly under the lights. The snobby woman adjusted her pearls, her whisper fading into the background noise, but its sting lingered, fueling Emma's quiet fire. Her mother watched from afar, tears glistening in her eyes, embodying the selfless care that had carried them this far. Ryan's tough facade softened further, a revelation brewing that this little girl might just be the mirror to his unhealed wounds. The director raised his baton, and time seemed to slow, the ballroom holding its collective breath for what was to come. Emma's blue eyes sparkled with unshed tears, a blend of vulnerability and strength that could melt the coldest heart. In this sea of extravagance, her presence was a beacon of raw humanity, challenging the room's superficiality. Ryan leaned forward slightly, intrigued by the pull he felt, his secret pain, a childhood marked by loss and hardship, whispering reminders of empathy long suppressed. The lights dimmed to a warm glow, illuminating Emma's golden hair like a halo, symbolizing the purity she carried amid adversity. Her small stature belied the immense responsibilities she shouldered at just 6 years old, helping her mother with chores, understanding bills they couldn't pay. The audience's murmurs subsided, leaving only the hum of anticipation, and Emma wondered if her voice could bridge the chasm between worlds. Ryan's blue eyes remained fixed, a storm of emotions brewing beneath his composed exterior, hinting at the transformation ahead. As the music swelled gently, Emma's heart raced, pounding with the rhythm of unspoken dreams and fears. Her her's encouraging nod from the wings infused her with a surge of love, a reminder that she was never truly alone. The snide comments echoed faintly, but Emma pushed them aside, focusing on the song's lyrics that spoke of hope and resilience. Ryan's mind wandered to his rise from poverty, the loneliness that wealth couldn't fill, seeing parallels in Emma's wide-eyed gaze. The choir positioned themselves, voices warming up in hushed tones, building toward the performance that could change everything. Emma clutched her hands together, drawing strength from within, her pure heart radiating a warmth that touched those open to it. In that moment, the ballroom transformed from a place of exclusion to one pregnant with possibility, all hinging on a little girl's courage. Ryan's stylish black hair caught the light as he pondered the irony, a CEO moved by a child's plight. Emma's confusion melted into quiet resolve, her blue eyes meeting his once more, forging an invisible bond of shared humanity. The director's baton hovered, ready to unleash the melody, and Emma exhaled slowly, embracing the unknown with a child's unyielding faith. As the choir's melody soared through the grand ballroom, Emma's small voice trembled, then faltered entirely, the lyrics slipping from her mind like sand through her fingers, leaving her frozen under the blinding spotlight that seemed to magnify her every flaw. Her golden curls glistened with sweat, her blue eyes wide with panic, as the notes she'd rehearsed for weeks vanished, replaced by a deafening silence that blanketed the room like a heavy fog. The audience, draped in silks and suits, sat motionless, their faces a mix of curiosity and discomfort, until a cruel giggle erupted from the back, sharp and piercing, like a needle to Emma's fragile heart. "Pathetic," a voice muttered, slicing through the stillness, and Emma's cheeks burned crimson. The weight of her faded pink dress, its patches now glaringly visible, pulling her down like an anchor of shame. Her classmates continued singing, their voices a distant hum, but Emma couldn't move, her feet rooted to the stage, her small frame trembling as tears welled, threatening to spill over her innocent face. She glanced at her mother in the wings, whose worried eyes radiated love, but couldn't shield her from the growing whispers of judgment that swirled like a storm. "I'm just a nobody in rags," Emma thought, her heart aching with the raw sting of humiliation, wishing the polished marble floor would swallow her whole. The snobby woman in pearls smirked to her companion, her words dripping with disdain. "She's out of her depth, look at that dreadful dress." Each syllable landed like a stone, crushing Emma's spirit further, her pure-hearted glow dimming under the weight of being seen as less. She bolted off the stage, her worn shoes slipping slightly and ducked behind a heavy velvet curtain, her sobs muffled as she curled into herself, the world feeling impossibly big and unkind. "I ruined everything," she whispered, her voice breaking, the memory of her mother's proud smile now a painful contrast to this moment of failure. The audience's murmurs grew, some sympathetic, others dismissive, as the choir pushed on, but Emma felt utterly alone, her small hands clutching the curtain as if it could hide her forever. Meanwhile, Ryan, seated in the front row, his stylish black hair catching the chandelier's glow, felt an unexpected pang in his chest, his blue eyes narrowing as he watched Emma flee. A memory flickered. Himself at 10, mocked for his threadbare clothes in a school play, the laughter of peers searing into his soul, shaping the tough exterior he now wore like armor. That old wound, buried under years of success, throbbed anew, and he shifted uncomfortably, his tailored suit suddenly feeling too tight. Emma's distress was a mirror to his past, stirring a compassion he'd long suppressed in boardrooms and high-stakes deals. He rose quietly, his presence commanding yet softened by a purpose only he understood, and slipped backstage, his polished shoes silent on the plush carpet. The crowd's attention remained on the choir, oblivious to the drama unfolding behind the scenes, but Ryan's focus was singular: find the girl whose pain echoed his own. He spotted her huddled form, her golden curls peeking from behind the curtain, and his heart cracked open, a rare vulnerability surfacing in the man known for his iron resolve. Kneeling to her level, his voice was gentle, almost fatherly, cutting through the chaos of her thoughts. "Hey little one, I'm Ryan. What's your name?" Emma peeked out, her tear-streaked face hesitant, her blue eyes searching his for any hint of mockery. "Emma," she sniffled, her voice barely a whisper. "But everyone hates me now. I messed it all up." Ryan's gaze softened further, seeing not just a child but a reflection of his younger self, shamed and small, yet resilient in ways the world overlooked. "You didn't mess up," he said firmly, his tone carrying a warmth that surprised even him. "You just got a little lost. Happens to the best of us." Emma's sobs slowed, her small chest heaving as she processed his kindness, so foreign in this glittering, judgmental space. The curtain shielded them from the audience's prying eyes, creating a fragile bubble where humanity could breathe. Ryan's mind raced with memories of his mother's encouragement, her voice urging him to stand tall despite poverty's weight, and he felt a surge of protectiveness for this girl he'd just met. Emma wiped her tears with the back of her hand, smudging dirt across her cheek, and Ryan noticed the faint calluses on her fingers, marks of chores a 6-year-old shouldn't bear. Her vulnerability pierced him, awakening a desire to shield her from the cruelty he knew too well. The choir's song reached its crescendo, the audience clapping politely, but Emma remained hidden, her world reduced to this moment of shame and a stranger's unexpected care. "I saw you out there," Ryan continued, his blue eyes steady, "and you know what? You're braver than half the people in this room." Emma blinked, confusion mixing with a flicker of hope, her pure heart latching onto his words like a lifeline. The snickers from the crowd lingered in her mind, but Ryan's presence was a quiet anchor, grounding her in a way she didn't yet understand. Her mother, still in the wings, caught a glimpse of the exchange, her weary eyes softening with gratitude for this man who saw her daughter's worth. Ryan's tough facade, built over years of climbing from nothing to millions, began to crumble, replaced by a stirring empathy that felt both foreign and familiar. Emma's small voice broke the silence. "Why are you being nice to me?" The question hung between them, raw and unguarded, as Ryan grappled with his own answer, a need to heal a piece of his past through her. The ballroom's opulence faded into the background, its superficiality irrelevant against the weight of this connection. Emma's tears slowed, her blue eyes meeting his with a trust that felt sacred, a silent plea for someone to believe in her. Ryan smiled, a rare genuine curve of his lips, and leaned closer, his voice a conspiratorial whisper, "Because I know what it's like to feel out of place, and I have an idea." The words carried a spark of mischief, a hint of something bold brewing in his mind, as Emma's heart quickened with curiosity and fear. What could this powerful man possibly want from a girl like her? The choir's final note faded, the crowd's applause swelling, but behind the curtain, a different story was unfolding, one of compassion poised to defy a room full of judgment. Behind the velvet curtain, where the ballroom's dazzling lights faded to a soft glow, Emma wiped her tear-streaked cheeks, her golden curls clinging to her damp skin as Ryan knelt beside her, his blue eyes radiating a warmth that cut through her lingering shame like a beacon in a storm. Her small voice trembled as she shared her favorite song, a vibrant, upbeat dance track about overcoming fears, its lyrics a secret anthem she'd hum while helping her mother with endless chores to keep their tiny apartment afloat. Ryan's stylish black hair caught a stray beam of light, and his face lit up with a spark of recognition, as if her choice unlocked a forgotten joy from his own gritty past. "That's a great one," he said, his voice low but vibrant. "You know, I used to hum something like that when I was a kid, scraping by with my mom in a place not so different from yours." Emma's blue eyes widened, her innocence piercing through his carefully constructed walls, and she whispered, "Really? You?" Her disbelief tinged with wonder that this polished man in a tailored suit could have ever felt the sting of want. Ryan nodded, a shadow crossing his face as he recalled nights in a cramped, cold apartment, his mother's tired hands mending his worn clothes, her love the only warmth in a world that judged them harshly. The connection deepened as Emma opened up, her voice soft but steady, revealing the pain of her father's abandonment when she was 3, leaving her mother to juggle 2 jobs and medical bills that ate up every spare dime. "That's why my dress is old," she admitted, tugging at the faded pink fabric, her words carrying the weight of responsibilities no 6-year-old should bear. Ryan's heart clenched, a mirror to his own childhood reflecting back, his mother's sacrifices, the sneers at school for his patched jackets, the hunger that fueled his relentless climb to success. Yet here was Emma, pure-hearted and resilient, her vulnerability stirring a protectiveness he hadn't felt in years. The distant hum of the choir's encore filtered through, but in this hidden nook, time seemed to pause, their shared stories weaving an invisible thread of understanding. "You're stronger than you know," Ryan said, his tone firm yet tender, his blue eyes locking onto hers with a sincerity that made her feel seen, truly seen, for the first time that night. Emma's lips quivered into a high smile, her small hand still clutching the curtain as if it anchored her to this fleeting moment of safety. Outside, the audience buzzed with chatter, unaware of the profound bond forming backstage, a collision of 2 worlds, one of wealth and power, the other of struggle and heart. Ryan leaned back, his tough exterior softening further, and shared a memory of dancing with his mother to a crackling radio, their laughter drowning out the landlord's knocks. "We didn't have much, but we had that," he said, his voice catching, a rare crack in his CEO armor. Emma's eyes sparkled with curiosity, her fear easing as she imagined a young Ryan, not so different from her, finding joy amid hardship. The weight of the earlier humiliation lingered, but his presence dulled its edge, replacing it with a flicker of hope that maybe she wasn't just a nobody in rags. Her mother, watching from a distance, caught fragments of their conversation, her weary face softening with gratitude for this stranger who saw her daughter's light. Ryan's mind raced, his own regrets surfacing, years spent chasing wealth, building walls to shield the boy who'd been mocked, only to realize now how empty that pursuit felt. Emma's innocence was a mirror, reflecting the humanity he'd buried under ambition, and he felt a surge of care, like a father shielding a child from the world's cruelty. The ballroom's opulence seemed distant, its superficiality irrelevant against this raw connection. "You remind me of someone," he said softly, almost to himself, thinking of his mother's unwavering spirit. Emma tilted her head, her golden curls bouncing, and asked, "Who?" Her question pulling him deeper into vulnerability. He smiled, a genuine curve of his lips, and said, "Someone who never gave up, no matter how hard it got." The moment hung between them, charged with unspoken understanding, as the crowd's applause swelled outside, signaling the choir's end. Emma's small chest rose with a deep breath, her pure heart latching onto his words, sensing a shift in the air. Ryan stood, his tall frame casting a gentle shadow, and extended his hand, his blue eyes gleaming with a bold idea. "I've got a plan," he said, his voice laced with mischief and purpose. "But it's a big one. You up for it?" Emma's heart raced, her earlier shame battling a spark of courage ignited by his belief in her. The audience's murmurs grew louder, oblivious to the transformation unfolding backstage. Her mother's eyes glistened with pride and worry, sensing something monumental was about to happen. Ryan's hand remained outstretched, a lifeline to a girl who'd felt invisible for so long. Emma hesitated, her blue eyes searching his for any trace of deceit, but found only kindness, a rare, unshakable care that felt like home. The distant music shifted to a livelier tune, and Ryan's smile widened, hinting at something daring. "What's the plan?" Emma asked, her voice a mix of fear and excitement, her small hand inching toward his. The curtain rustled slightly, as if the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for her next move. Ryan's heart pounded, his own childhood dreams of being seen resurfacing, urging him to lift this girl up in a way he'd never been. The ballroom's grandeur faded, leaving only this moment of raw humanity, where a millionaire and a child found common ground in their shared scars. Emma's fingers hovered, her trust teetering on the edge, as Ryan's words echoed in her mind, promising a chance to rewrite her story. The crowd's chatter grew distant, and in that sacred space, a question lingered. What bold move was Ryan about to propose, and would Emma find the strength to take his hand? Emma's small hand trembled as it hovered over Ryan's outstretched one, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest, the faded, pink dress clinging to her like a badge of her fears as the ballroom's spotlight seemed to pulse with the weight of 1,000 judging eyes. Ryan's bold announcement over the microphone. "This brave girl deserves a spotlight. Emma, let's show them real courage," sent a shockwave through the crowd, their gasps rippling like a tide, transforming the glittering hall into a crucible of anticipation. Her blue eyes widened in terror, the memory of the earlier giggles and that cruel pathetic still burning in her ears, now amplified by the prospect of dancing in front of these strangers who'd mocked her tattered appearance. "Dance? Here?" she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. "They'll laugh more. My dress." The frayed hem seemed to mock her, a symbol of everything she lacked in this world of wealth. Ryan knelt closer, his blue eyes steady with a kindness that felt like a shield, his stylish black hair catching the stage lights as he whispered, "Trust me, Emma. One step at a time." Her mind swirled with doubt, reflecting on a life spent shrinking, hiding from bullies at school who teased her second-hand clothes, staying quiet to ease her mother's burdens, regretting every moment she'd let shame silence her spark. Ryan, too, felt a mirror moment, his own regrets surging, years of hardening his heart, chasing deals to bury the pain of a boy mocked for his poverty, now seeing in Emma the chance to redeem that lost part of himself. The audience leaned forward, their earlier disdain giving way to curiosity. the woman in pearls raising an eyebrow, her judgment momentarily paused. Emma's mother, in the wings, clutched her worn handbag, her eyes glistening with a mix of pride and fear, praying this moment wouldn't break her daughter's fragile spirit. The stage lights warmed Emma's face, her golden curls glowing like a halo, but her small frame shook, the weight of the crowd's gaze pitiless, pressing down like a storm. Ryan's voice softened further. "You're not your dress, Emma. You're the girl who stood up there and tried." His words pierced her, stirring a flicker of courage, buried beneath layers of self-doubt. She glanced at her mother, whose nod was a silent vow of love, urging her to seize this chance. Ryan's own reflection deepened. How many times had he walked away from vulnerability, choosing power over connection? This child, with her pure heart, was unraveling his carefully built walls, showing him the cost of his isolation. The music cued, a faint upbeat rhythm of Emma's favorite song, its lyrics about rising above fear vibrating in her chest. She took a shaky breath, her small hand finally meeting Ryan's, his grip warm and steady, like an anchor in her turbulent sea. The crowd hushed, their anticipation electric, as Emma stepped into the spotlight, her old dress swaying defiantly, a testament to her resilience. Ryan's heart raced, his tough exterior melting as he saw his younger self in her, scared but unbroken, worthy of more than the world had given. Emma's mind flashed to nights helping her mother count pennies for bills, her small sacrifices unnoticed until now, this moment, a revelation that her worth wasn't tied to wealth. The stage became their sanctuary, a space where humanity trumped status, and Ryan's smile, genuine and unguarded, gave her strength. Her mother's tears fell silently, a mix of relief and awe at her daughter's bravery. The music swelled, and Ryan gently guided Emma into the first step, their movements hesitant but deliberate, a silent promise that she wasn't alone. The audience's murmurs softened, some faces softening with unexpected empathy, the woman in pearls now silent, her earlier scorn replaced by intrigue. Emma's blue eyes met Ryan's, searching for reassurance, and found a depth of care that felt like family. Ryan's own revelation crystallized. This wasn't just about helping Emma, it was about healing the boy he'd left behind. The dance hadn't even begun in earnest, but the room felt charged with possibility, every step a defiance of judgment. Emma's heart lifted slightly, her earlier humiliation fading against Ryan's unwavering belief in her. Her mother's hands trembled, sensing a turning point for her daughter, a moment where love could rewrite pain. The crowd's eyes followed their every move, some whispering in awe, others in disbelief, as a millionaire and a child bridged worlds with a single act of courage. Ryan's voice, low and encouraging, murmured, "You've got this," and Emma felt a spark of belief ignite within her. The music's rhythm pulsed stronger, urging them forward, but just as they began to sway, a harsh voice cut through the air. A heckler, bold and cruel, shouting from the crowd, escalating the tension and threatening to shatter this fragile moment. Emma's breath caught, her small hand tightening in Ryan's, her courage teetering on the edge. Ryan's jaw clenched, his protective instinct flaring, ready to shield her from this new blow. The stage lights burned brighter, the audience holding its breath, and Emma's heart pounded with a mix of fear and determination. What would happen next, and could she find the strength to keep going? The heckler's voice sliced through the ballroom's charged silence like a jagged blade, his mocking shout, "She's just a kid in tatters, this is ridiculous," hanging in the air, threatening to shatter Emma's fragile courage as she stood frozen on the stage, her faded pink dress swaying under the spotlight's harsh glare. Her small hand tightened in Ryan's, her blue eyes flickering with renewed fear, the earlier humiliation rushing back like a tidal wave, but Ryan's grip was a lifeline, his blue eyes locking onto hers with a fierce protective warmth that drowned out the cruelty. "Ignore them," he whispered, his voice steady yet laced with an urgency that stirred her heart. "This is our moment, Emma, not theirs." The upbeat Rachanki, rhythm of her favorite song pulsed through the speakers, its lyrics about overcoming fears urging her forward, and Ryan gently tugged her into motion, their steps awkward at first, her worn shoes scuffing the polished stage as she fought the instinct to flee. The audience, once a sea of judgmental whispers, leaned forward, their faces shifting from scorn to curiosity. captivated by the unlikely pair, a millionaire CEO and a 6-year-old in a thrift store dress, defying the room's expectations. Emma's golden curls bounced as they twirled, her small frame loosening with each step, a tentative smile breaking through her tear-streaked face as Ryan dipped her playfully, his stylish black hair catching the light like a crown of resolve. The heckler's voice faded, drowned by the music and the crowd's growing murmurs of awe, the woman in pearls now clutching her necklace, her earlier disdain replaced by a flicker of shame. Emma's mother, watching from the wings, gripped her handbag, tears streaming down her weary face, her heart swelling with pride as her daughter's resilience shone brighter than any chandelier. Ryan's mind flashed to his own childhood, dancing with his mother in a cramped kitchen to escape their struggles, her laughter a fleeting shield against poverty's sting. This moment with Emma was a mirror, reflecting the joy he'd buried under years of ambition. The dance grew bolder, Emma giggling softly as Ryan spun her, her old dress fluttering like a flag of defiance, its patches no longer a mark of shame, but a testament to her unyielding spirit. The audience's whispers turned to soft applause, a ripple of empathy spreading as they saw not a pathetic child, but a beacon of courage. Ryan's heart pounded, his tough exterior crumbling further, a revelation stirring. "I've chased millions, but this is love in action," he thought, his blue eyes glistening with unshed tears. Emma felt it too, her small chest swelling with a newfound lightness, the weight of being less lifting as the crowd's cheers grew louder, their claps syncing with the song's beat. Her moby, their sobs mixed with a smile, her sacrifices for Emma validated in this unexpected spotlight. The stage became a sanctuary, a space where humanity triumphed over status, and Emma's pure heart glowed, her earlier doubts dissolving in Ryan's unwavering belief. The music hit its climax, the rhythm pulsing like a heartbeat, and Emma whispered, her voice barely audible over the cheers, "Mr. Ryan, my mommy is sick. Really sick." The confession hung between them, a raw, heartbreaking secret that stopped Ryan cold, his breath catching as the dance slowed, their swaying figures framed by the spotlight. Emma's blue eyes shimmered with vulnerability, her words unveiling a burden she'd carried silently, her mother's illness, the reason for their poverty, the reason her dress was old, every penny spent on medicine rather than clothes. Ryan's heart shattered, a memory flooding back. His own mother's frail frame, her coughs echoing in their tiny apartment, his powerlessness as a boy fueling his drive to millions, yet leaving him empty until now. The audience, unaware of the revelation, continued clapping, but for Ryan, the world narrowed to this child's pain, a mirror to his own unhealed wounds. Emma's small hand trembled in his, her confession a plea for hope, and Ryan's resolve hardened, his protective instinct surging like a tide. The song's final notes loomed, and the crowd's applause swelled, but Emma's words echoed louder in Ryan's mind, her courage in sharing her truth outshining the stage's glow. Her mother, in the wings, sensed the shift, her heart racing with fear and gratitude as she saw Ryan's face change, his tough facade replaced by raw compassion. The music pulsed on, their dance a delicate balance of joy and sorrow, each step a defiance of the heckler's cruelty and the world's indifference. Emma's giggle faded into a quiet strength, her blue eyes searching Ryan's face, or reassurance, finding a promise of care that felt like family. The audience, now fully captivated, rose to their feet, their cheers a chorus of humanity awakened by this unlikely duo. Ryan's mind raced, his own regrets surfacing, years spent building walls, ignoring the pain of others, now undone by a child's honesty. Emma's revelation was a turning point, her vulnerability a call to action that stirred his soul. The stage lights burned brighter, illuminating their connection, a millionaire and a child bound by shared scars and unspoken dreams. Her mother's tears fell harder, a mix of relief and hope, as the crowd's ovation grew deafening. The song neared its end, but Emma's whispered secret hung in the air, a cliffhanger that left Ryan and the audience reeling, wondering what he would do with this heartbreaking truth. As the music's final notes faded, Emma's trembling whisper, "Mr. Ryan, my mommy is sick, really sick," hung in the air like a thunderclap, her small voice cracking under the weight of a secret too heavy for her 6-year-old heart. silencing the ballroom's cheers and freezing Ryan mid-step on the stage. Her blue eyes, shimmering with unshed tears, locked onto his, revealing a world of quiet sacrifice. Every penny her mother earned spent on medicine, leaving nothing for new clothes, explaining the faded pink dress that had drawn cruel sneers. The spotlight bathed them in a warm glow, but Ryan's heart plummeted, his breath catching as Emma's words sliced through his polished exterior, unearthing a buried memory. His own mother's frail figure, coughing through sleepless nights in their rundown apartment, her illness a shadow that haunted his childhood and drove his relentless climb to wealth. The audience, still standing, their applause fading into a hushed anticipation, remained oblivious to the profound shift unfolding, their earlier judgments replaced by a collective awe at the unlikely duo. Emma's golden curls clung to her tear-streaked cheeks, her pure-hearted confession a mirror to Ryan's past, reflecting the pain of powerlessness he'd spent years burying beneath boardroom victories. His blue eyes glistened, the tough CEO facade shattered, replaced by a raw, aching compassion that felt like a homecoming to the boy he'd once been. "Emma, you're not alone anymore," he said, his voice thick with emotion, as he pulled her into a gentle hug, her small frame trembling against his tailored suit. The crowd erupted into sobs and cheers, sensing the depth of this moment, the woman in pearls now dabbing her eyes, her earlier scorn forgotten. Emma's mother, in the wings, clutched her chest, tears streaming down her weary face, overwhelmed by her daughter's bravery and this stranger's unexpected care. Ryan's mind raced, a flood of memories, his mother's final days, the guilt of not saving her, the loneliness of success without heart, colliding with Emma's reality, her vulnerability a call to rewrite his own story. The stage, once a place of humiliation, became a sacred space where humanity eclipsed wealth, their embrace a silent vow of solidarity. Emma's small hand clung to his, her trust a fragile gift that stirred a fierce protectiveness in Ryan, his heart whispering, "This is why I fought so hard, to make a difference now." The audience's applause swelled again, a tide of empathy washing over the room, as Emma's confession unveiled the hidden struggles behind her old dress. Her mother's sobs mixed with hope, seeing a flicker of salvation in Ryan's eyes, a man transformed by her daughter's courage. The music had stopped, but the moment pulsed with life, each heartbeat a testament to the bond forged in shared pain. Ryan's revelation crystallized. His empire, built to escape poverty's scars, meant nothing without acts of love to heal others. Emma's blue eyes searched his, finding not just kindness but a promise, her earlier shame replaced by a quiet strength that radiated beyond the stage. The crowd, now on its feet, clapped. With fervor, their cheers a chorus for humanity's triumph over indifference. Ryan's stylish black hair caught the light as he straightened, his resolve hardening, and he pulled out his phone. His fingers trembling as he dialed urgently, whispering, "I need to make this right, now." The audience leaned in, sensing a turning point, their emotions raw from witnessing this child's truth and Ryan's awakening. Emma's mother stepped closer, her worn handbag forgotten, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and gratitude. The stage lights dimmed slightly, framing Ryan and Emma in a halo of hope, their connection a beacon in a world often blinded by wealth. Emma's small voice broke the silence. "You mean it?" Her question a plea for belief, her pure heart clinging to his promise. Ryan nodded, his blue eyes fierce with determination, the weight of his own past fueling a vow to change her future. The crowd's cheers grew louder, a wave of support that lifted Emma's spirit, her earlier humiliation now a distant memory. The ballroom, once a place of exclusion, transformed into a stage for redemption, where a child's courage and a man's awakened heart promised a new beginning. As the crowd's cheers swelled into a thunderous ovation, Ryan stood tall on the stage, his blue eyes blazing with a newfound purpose, Emma's small hand still clasped in his, her golden curls catching the spotlight as her earlier confession about her mother's illness echoed in his heart like a call to action. With the audience hanging on his every word, he raised the microphone, his voice steady but thick with emotion, and declared, "Tonight, we're not just raising funds, we're changing lives." My company will cover Emma's mother's treatment, and I challenge everyone here to join us in making a difference." The ballroom erupted, gasps mingling with applause, as wallets opened and pledges poured in, the woman in pearls now clapping fervently, her earlier judgment replaced by tears of humility. Emma's blue eyes widened, her pure heart overwhelmed by the sudden wave of hope, her faded pink dress no longer a mark of shame but a symbol of resilience that moved a room of strangers. Ryan knelt beside her, his stylish black hair falling slightly into his face, and whispered, "You're the hero, kiddo. You taught me true wealth is in caring." His words stirred a memory of his own mother, her selfless love guiding him through poverty, now mirrored in Emma's courage, a revelation that real success lay in lifting others up. The stage vibrated with the crowd's energy, their cheers a testament to humanity's capacity for change, as Emma's mother stepped forward from the wings, her weary face alight with gratitude, tears streaming as she mouthed a silent thank you to Ryan. The music resumed, the upbeat rhythm of Emma's favorite song filling the air, and Ryan pulled her into another dance, their steps now confident, a joyful defiance of the heckler's cruelty and the world's indifference. Emma giggled, her small frame swaying with newfound lightness, the weight of her family's struggles lifting as the crowd's support enveloped her like a warm embrace. Ryan's heart swelled, his tough exterior fully shed, replaced by a tenderness that felt like redemption for the boy who'd once felt powerless. The audience, now on its feet, clapped in rhythm, their faces reflecting a spectrum of emotions, empathy, awe and inspiration, transformed by this unlikely duo's bond. Emma's mother joined them on stage, her worn hands trembling as she hugged Ryan, her voice choked with gratitude. "You've given us more than money, you've given us hope." The moment was a mirror for Ryan, reflecting his own regrets, years spent chasing wealth, ignoring the pain of others, now undone by a child's honesty and a mother's love. The dance became a celebration, Emma's laughter ringing like a bell, her blue eyes sparkling with a confidence she'd never known, each twirl a declaration of her worth. The crowd's pledges continue, phones lighting up with donations, a ripple effect of kindness sparked by one small girl's courage. Ryan's mind flashed to his past, the nights he'd vowed to escape poverty's grip, now realizing that true escape came through giving, not gaining. Emma's mother, her face etched with years of sacrifice, stood taller, her burdens shared by a room united in compassion. The stage lights glowed brighter, framing the trio, Ryan, Emma and her mother, in a tableau of humanity's triumph, their connection a beacon for all who'd ever felt unseen. The song's tempo quickened, and Emma spun faster, her old dress fluttering like wings, her earlier humiliation a distant memory replaced by joy. Ryan's blue eyes met her mother's, a silent pact forming to ensure Emma's future, his heart whispering, "This is what matters." The audience's cheers grew deafening, a chorus of support that drowned out the earlier sneers, proving that love could rewrite even the harshest stories. Emma's small voice piped up, her question cutting through the music. "Will you come visit us? I don't want to say goodbye." Her words, raw and hopeful, pierced Ryan's soul. A final challenge to make this moment more than a fleeting gesture. The crowd leaned in, sensing the weight of her plea, their applause softening into a hush, waiting for Ryan's response. The stage became a crucible of hope, where a millionaire's awakened heart and a child's trust promised a legacy of care. Emma's mother wiped her tears, her heart pounding with the possibility of a brighter tomorrow, as Ryan's smile widened, his resolve unshakable, setting the stage for a bond that would endure beyond this night. As the ballroom's lights softened, casting a warm glow over the stage, Ryan knelt beside Emma, his blue eyes shimmering with tears as he answered her heartfelt plea. "Will you come visit us?" With a gentle, unwavering promise. "Every week, kiddo, I swear it." His voice a vow that sealed a bond forged in shared scars and newfound hope. The crowd's applause faded into a reverent hush, their faces reflecting the transformative power of this moment, the woman in pearls now openly weeping, her earlier disdain replaced by a quiet respect for the humanity unfolding before her. Emma's golden curls glowed like a halo, her blue eyes sparkling with a confidence that had bloomed from the ashes of her earlier humiliation, her faded pink dress now a radiant symbol of resilience. Months later, the scene shifted to a cozy living room, where Emma's mother, her face no longer etched with worry, laughed as she watched her daughter twirl to their favorite song, her health restored thanks to Ryan's pledge and the flood of donations that night. Ryan, his stylish black hair slightly tousled, joined them, his tailored suit swapped for a casual sweater, his tough CEO facade a distant memory, replaced by a warmth that felt like family. Emma's giggles filled the air, her small hands guiding Ryan through playful dance steps, each move a testament to the courage she'd found on that stage. Her mother, now strong enough to work just one job, set a plate of homemade cookies on the table, her eyes glistening with gratitude as she met Ryan's gaze, their silent exchange a recognition of the miracle sparked by one child's honesty. The viral video of their dance had swept the internet, millions moved by the story of a millionaire and a girl in a thrift store dress, proving that kindness could heal even the deepest wounds. Ryan's company had launched a foundation for families like Emma's, his wealth now a tool for compassion, fulfilling a promise to his own mother's memory, whose love had carried him through poverty. Emma, once a nobody in rags, now radiated confidence, her pure heart a beacon that had changed not just her life, but Ryan's too, his weekly visits a ritual of laughter and connection. In a quiet moment, as Emma napped on the couch, Ryan shared a coffee with her mother, reflecting on his revelation. "I built an empire to escape my past, but Emma showed me it's love that sets you free." Her mother nodded, her voice soft. "She's always been my light, but you gave her wings." The room filled with photos of their new memories, Emma's first school play without fear, Ryan teaching her to ride a bike, told a story of redemption that transcended the ballroom's fleeting spotlight. Outside, a gentle spring breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers, mirroring the renewal in their lives, as Emma stirred, her small voice murmuring, "Mr. Ryan, you're my best friend." His heart swelled, a tear escaping as he whispered back, "And you saved me, kiddo." The camera panned to a framed photo of their dance, a moment that had rippled across the world, inspiring countless acts of kindness. Emma's mother joined the embrace, her strength restored not just by medicine but by a community awakened to care. The scene faded to a vibrant sunset, symbolizing the dawn of hope, as text appeared. "One dance changed everything. Share your story of kindness below." The music swelled, a tender melody of triumph, as the screen lingered on their joyful hug, a satisfying resolution where love and humanity triumphed over hardship. Ryan's final reflection echoed silently. "This is my legacy, not millions, but moments like these." Emma's laughter rang out, a sound of pure joy as the screen faded to black, leaving a lasting image of a bond that proved even the smallest heart could move mountains, a tearful, happy ending that promised their story would inspire forever.